A mosque, a church, and Abu Dhabi's first purpose-built synagogue. Three deeply reverent and architecturally stunning places of worship in the heart of the United Arab Emirates. A project aimed at fostering interfaith dialogue and understanding. I sat down with the president of the Abrahamic Family House, Mohammed Al-Mubarak, and world-renowned architect Sir David Adjaye. Mohammed, what does it mean to the UAE?
You have the UAE today, over 200 nationalities that call the UAE home. So we need to make sure that all these nationalities have the comfort to call this place home.
Why was Sir David chosen as the architect?
He was chosen because of what's inside, right here. You know, his human perspective. And to accomplish a project like this and understanding the essence of Islam, the essence of Christianity, and the essence of Judaism, it needed an individual that can open his heart for that.
Can you just take me through the project as it evolved?
In my work, I'm always interested in really looking at the roots of things and the histories of things. But this allowed us to almost go back to the reset, to go back to ground zero about what brings people together, what makes their faith, what makes their culture. And it was just so enriching for the studio, for my team, for myself, diving into the essence of Islam. The essence of Christianity, the essence of Judaism.
Glory be to the one God in his great compassion.
And really understanding what these things have meant in the way in which human beings have constructed them over millennia.
The Abrahamic Family House was inspired by the Principles of Human Fraternity, a document signed by the Pope during his visit here in 2019.
This document was signed by Pope Francis, by Sheikh Ahmed al-Tayyib, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the President. And it's a document of world peace. It's a document of coming together. It's a document that reminds us what humans are supposed to be doing. Understanding each other, accepting each other, and looking forward to a much brighter future.
Walking through each house is a profound experience. Sir David incorporates these elements into each house to create immensely spiritual and inspirational spaces.
So what you have is basically an interpretation of the power of the word of God in Islam. It's really this idea of a system that makes an egalitarian space for the worshippers to face the Kaaba. So you have 4 columns that are holding the roof. They're square. So you have 9 domes that are coming from these 4 columns, and it's the rotation from the square to the dome that's creating this extraordinary sort of tension in the building. And then the framing between the columns of the Mashroub, which is basically diffusing light from all directions all around you and creating this beautiful dappled light. What you're going to see in all the projects is that it's always about a filtering of light, a splitting of light. In each project, I do it in some way. But in the mosque, the light surrounds you until you get to the silence and the stoicness of facing Mecca.
The synagogue is oriented towards Jerusalem.
So this is the dedication to the temple, and each one of the temples has its dedication when you walk through the doors. And then you find yourself in this chamber, which is somber, quiet, slightly dimly lit, and that's because the synagogue is inspired by the idea of the Sukkot, the sojourn in the wilderness and your relationship to God. So I'm preparing you, taking you from the urban world into this environment which is about your spiritual world. So then you're in the Sukkot. Yeah. And this is this 30-meter volume. And you're in this congregation with a bimah in the center and 1 oculus. So in this temple, 1 oculus, and this is so great, the timing, because the light of the midday kisses the rabbi in the center.
storytellers to carry the story of why it matters.
David, this is remarkable. The elevated garden links all buildings and creates a sense of grounded calmness.
Nothing here is about bringing things from away from the continent. There's things that you find on the continent that we've made into a concentrated garden. So the grasses, the fruit trees, hibiscuses, the jasmines, and they blossom and bloom in different ways so that we have seasonality in this garden. But we really thought that this was an opportunity to bring all the species that we could get our hands on into this garden and have that as a celebration of this region.
The church is oriented towards the rising sun in the east.
With this project, the church, I think it's about faith. So these monumental structural columns, look at the suddenly stopping above your head as you enter, saying, with faith, enter. So now we're in the church, and you're in this moment which I've been working on, this idea of the spirit of the Word of God. And, you know, I made it in timber because it's also, in a way, reflects on the idea of the ark.
You talk about the use of wood, and this is something that has been reflected in the body of your work ahead of this?
Yes, absolutely. I'm fascinated by the atmosphere that is created with timber and how that works within spaces and how we create motion. So what happens in this is that daylight kisses through at certain times of the day as these kind of little fragments, shards, and then they're supported with artificial light. And it creates this atmosphere of you're all together in the congregation in the body of this vessel that is the church.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
As we sit here today, can you just reflect on the process and the project and how it fits into your life?
The journey has been incredible, and I think it's transformed us all. And you know, I still can't believe that this idea that was in my head is now a space that we are sitting in and talking about. And it's such a humbling experience to be able to create space and to create form.
3 houses of worship on a common foundation, fostering a sense of faith and understanding.